Hello children, welcome to our e-learning classes. Today we do the chapter 5, bones and muscles. In this we are going to talk about different organ systems. Before we had studied how organs are being made. You remember children? Yes? So we are going to just have introduction that our body is made up of various organs. Yeah? And the organs perform different functions efficiently. Yes. So sometimes more than one organ along with the smaller body parts form a team and together do a specific task. These organs together make an organ system. So if we talk about skeletal system here, then all the framework of the bones together can make a skeleton system. Yes. If we talk about muscles, then all the muscles together, all the organs form the muscular system. If we talk about the respiratory system, and all the internal organs and the external organs all together form the organ system which is known as respiratory system. If you remember, last time we had done what do we mean by organ. First of all, how organ is being formed. So, suppose a stomach is going to be created. First it is a cell, then group of cells turns into tissues and the tissues turns into an organ. If it is liver, it turns into a liver. If it is going to turn into a stomach, then it turns into a stomach. And all the organs together of the digestive system can form the digestive system. So, here it is written organ system. We are talking about all the system working in our body. Yes. So, we talk in detail the systems. Yes. So, if we want to maintain the hygiene and cleanliness to stay healthy, yes, then we had talked about this healthy habits, how to stay in the previous chapter, and in this chapter we are going to study about mainly the muscular system and skeleton system. If we say the door and the windows, if we open the door can open. But if there are no hinges, you see a door, some joints are being placed. Even the window, there are few joints being placed. Then only we can do the forward and the backward movement of the doors and window. Same way our body have joints. We have the elbow joint, we have the wrist joint, shoulder joint, hip joint, ankle joint, then we have the knee joint, different types of joints and their functions we are going to learn in this chapter. But if muscles are there, then it allows it to move. Yes, with the joints and the muscles. So, see here it is written that we learn about the muscular system along with the skeleton system. So, that we are going to talk about digestive system, respiratory system, nervous system, circulatory system, reproductive system and the excretory system. In this, in our third standard we have learned the digestive system. Digestive system figure is drawn and you have to just label the names if you remember. Yeah. So, what is the main function of the digestive system? It works for the digestion of our food. Next, respiratory system, if we talk, when you breathe in, then the air goes inside through the windpipe, through the lungs. Yes. So, it is concerning with the breathing process. Next is the nervous system. Nervous system is with the brain and the nerves. Okay. So, see it is written controls all the functions of the body. If I want to lift my hand up, down, if I want to lift a pen, then also the command is given from the brain and the food is getting digested. We see few things with our eyes. Each and every system, the control is with the nervous system. As you have a computer, what is the main brain of it? It is the CPU. You have learned in your lower classes. Same way, our whole body, yes, it is being controlled by the nervous system. So, nervous system should be in a proper way. The circulatory system, it controls the pumping of the blood, that is the heart. Yes, by the heart and the flow of the blood all over the body. It is through the veins and arteries that you will be learning in the other classes. Next is the reproductive system, enables to produce babies. We had seen in the previous chapter reproduction in plants. If there are seeds, then we have new plants grown. But if there are no seeds, then we saw different parts of the plants, that is the leaves, the stems, roots, flowers. Yeah? These are the different parts through which the reproduction occurs. Same way, reproductive system for all the living beings. It can be animals, it can be birds, it can be human beings, or it can be insects. Then comes the excretory system to throw out the waste materials from the body. So, you see, whatever we put in our body, whatever is the wastage should come out, or else it is toxic, and the toxic things is very dangerous if it remains in our body. It can be the sweat also. When you perspire a lot, it is very good. If you perspire after doing exercise, all the toxic material, the poisonous materials inside comes out through the sweat. Now we talk detail first the skeleton system. So, what do we mean by a skeleton system? So, before we go for the definition, we see that there is a framework. If the skull was not there, if the spinal cord is not there, we cannot stand straight. You see a tree, a plant, if a plant is going to be into a huge tree, then the small stem thickens and large trunk, and it is always straight. It supports, yes, and the roots are going to hold the whole tree. Same way, our body, there is a spinal cord at the back which gives us the straight support, and our legs gives the support to stand. Yes. So, if there is a framework, you see the hands, you feel your hands, something hard is there, that is the bone. On top of that, the soft part is the muscle. So, the bone gives the shape to the body. So, see here we read the first sentence. Our body has a framework of bones called the skeleton. The skeleton gives the body a definite shape. It also protects the delicate organs of the body such as the heart and the lungs. So, you can see here the rib cage. Inside there are always two lungs. So, what happens in that? It protects and it is giving the formation. Now, if we go to the skull, we saw the structure. Skull. The skull you can see here. It protects the brain which is inside. So, the bones of our face, forehead, head and the jaws form the skull. So, you have to remember how many bones in the skull? 22 bones. Okay. And the part of the skull that protects the brain is called the cranium. Yes. The part which protects the brain. We can only move the jaw bones, yes, as they allow us to eat. If these are not movable joints, then we cannot eat and we cannot chew. The different types of joints we will be learning after this topic. So, we can feel some portions of the skull when we touch our face, our fingers. Yes, you can see something hard part, that is the jaws. Okay. Now, we see the rib cage. See here the rib cage in detail. If we see the rib cage, it is like a cage. So, the name is rib cage. What is the function of it? It protects lungs and heart. And see here, these two lungs are not getting connected like this. So, they are known as floating ribs. Okay. So, see 12 pairs of bones in your chest form a cage like structure called the rib cage. So, when we see this cage, yes, and there are 12 pairs. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, and it is having the 12 pairs, and the last one is known as the floating rib because it is not touching, and the mid one is the sternum, chest bone. Then if we take the spinal cord, it is straight. Can you see? So see here, the backbone of the spine is made up of 33 bones. These are called vertebrae. Altogether they form the vertebral column. It starts from our back, yes, from the neck, and the ends at the back here. Yes. So see here, the spine is the central supporting rod of the skeleton. At the upper portion of the spine are the neck bones, and neck bones, the name is the cervical vertebrae. So sometimes if you are at home, you might be hearing somebody saying cervical disease of the neck, that pain. That is because the name of the neck bones are cervical. The spine protects a delicate spinal cord which contains the nerves and the blood vessels. The tailbone forms the bottom of the spine. So here it ends. So that is the tail. Now we see further the forelimbs and the hind limbs, the bones. In the lower class you learn what are the forelimbs and hind limbs. The first two legs of animals are known as forelimbs, and the behind legs are known as hind limbs. Same way for the human beings. So we see here forelimbs and hind limbs. Yes. So the bones of our hands, feet, wrist and ankles are the limb bones. We have two pair of limbs. Yes, it is the forelimbs, that is the hands, and the hind limbs, that are the legs. The bones of the forelimbs consist of the upper arm. This is the upper arm, then the lower arm, palm and fingers. Yes, they help us to do what? For holding something, for lifting something. And if you want to write, we need the help of it. So the upper portion of the bone is attached to the spine of the collarbone of the shoulder blade. So these are the shoulder blades. You just touch here, you can feel the bones, shoulder blades. Yeah, see it here, it is touching. Yes, that are the shoulder blades. And it is attached to the collarbones. Why we have the name collar? Because here we have the collar bones. So in the 5th class you are going to learn why we say collar. Yes. Next, the bones of the upper leg, lower leg, feet and toes form the bones of the hind limb. As we saw, the upper arm, lower arm, yes, then the palm, yes, and the fingers. They all form the forelimbs, that is the hands. Same way our hind legs. The hind legs are the upper leg, then this is the upper leg, then there is the lower leg, then the feet, and the fingers of the leg are known as toes. Yes, children. Now we go for here. They help us to do what? For hand we saw it helps us for writing, for lifting. Yes, same with the legs. If you want to skip, you want to jump, then we need the hind limbs. And the thigh bone. Yes, thigh bone is known as the femur. It is the longest bone, okay, of our body. And the smallest bone is here, tiny bone behind the ear. Now we talk about different types of joints. So see here, in the figure first we see types of joints. If we talk about the shoulders and the legs which are attached to the hip joint, they are known as ball and socket. Why the name is ball and socket? The shoulder, yes, it is like a round socket, and inside a ball is fixed and our arm starts from here. So the name is ball and socket joint. Okay. So see here, the places where bones meet are called joints. So in the introduction we saw the elbow, the shoulder joint, the wrist, and in the legs I said here the hip joint, knees and the ankle. And I gave you the example of the door. If you want to open the door or close the door, you see few things are placed. They are known as the hinges. Same with the window. Yes, you want to open and close. The motion is forward and backward. But if you don't have the hinges, then we have to lift the door and just place it. Yes, or it may fall also, and the whole house or the room will not be safe. We cannot close it. So same way for the movements, we need few joints. Here, see, at the joints the bones are held together. Who holds now these bones? It is held by the tissues. When the bone is held by the tissues, the name is ligaments. So whenever you have a sprain, yes, when you are just fallen and there is no fracture, but you have a swollen part, then that is a sprain. What happens in that? The ligaments stretches, they break, they tear in the muscles. So that we are talking about, the ligaments. All the bones are being attached with the ligament. This helps the bones to move, the knee, ankle, elbow, hips, shoulders, etc. are some of the joints in our body. Now, joints can be movable or immovable. So, we are going to learn different types of joints, either movable or immovable. Joints according to the movements. So, for example, we can rotate our wrist. See, it can be clockwise, it can be anti-clockwise, but our knee we cannot rotate. Yeah. So, we are going to learn about the movable joints and immovable joints in this coming topic. So, see here, joints. Joints are of 4 types. Yes, in the movable. The knee and the elbow are the hinge joints. They can only move backward and forward. So, the knee and the elbow, yes, joints are only going to move like a hinges in the doors and windows, which I have explained you and given the example from the introduction. So, the name itself gives us hinge joints. Okay. Next is the shoulder joint and the hip joint, that is the ball and the socket joints. One bone of this joint ends in a ball and fits in a hole of the other. In this joint, the bone that ends in a ball can move in many directions. So, if you take your leg and you rotate it clockwise, anti-clockwise, then it can rotate. If you take your hand and you rotate it clockwise and anti-clockwise, it can rotate. Why? Because this is a socket and this is the ball which is fixed. So, it can rotate. Yes. So, we are talking about movable joints first. Next comes here. The skull is connected to the spine with a pivot joint. So, you can see as the spine and then the brain starts. There it is protected by the skull. Okay. So, that joint is known as the connection between the spinal cord and the skull. It is known as pivot joint. It allows the head to move in different directions. So, see your head, you can rotate it clockwise, anti-clockwise, yes, up, down, sideways, yes. Why? Because it is a joint which is pivot joint. Next, the wrist and the ankle joint are sliding joints where the bones slide against each other. Whenever we fall, our hands give support and we are saved, or our legs slip, but we get a sprain. Why? The bones are sliding on top of it. So, there may be damage in the tissues. We saw the ligaments. Yes. Now, the bones of the skeleton system are very important as they keep the body upright. Yes, and help it to move. We should take care of our bones by eating lot of calcium rich food. So, we have done the first chapter, nutrition. Yes, we get lot of calcium from milk. Yes. Now, rich food are milk. If we do not take care of our bones, we can get affected by diseases. So, we are deficiency disease we are done. So, if we don't take right amount of calcium in our body, that is the milk and milk products, then what can happen? Osteoporosis and arthritis. So, osteoporosis and arthritis just in 5th class, you have to remember the spelling, the and the name. Yes, they are the diseases. If we don't take care of our bones, we don't take in our diet calcium. Yes. So, what happens in that? The holes are being created in the bones and they are brittle. If we have a small fall or a small accident also, our bone starts breaking. Okay. When we break a bone accidentally, it is called a fracture. Fracture means a small break in our bone. That is known as a fracture. So, arthritis and osteoporosis, if we don't want in future, then our diet should be very nice, the balanced diet, whatever we have learned. So, see here, we go for the next. Pivot joint we saw, hinge joints we saw, yes. Now, we go for the muscular system. What are the muscles? See here. Yes, so many types. All the bones are being covered with muscles. Yes, it protects. You touch your hand. Yes, it is a soft part which is muscle. Muscles are the soft tissues of the body that cover the bones. Yes, and the muscles helps our body to move. Right now I am moving. You can sit and you can stand also. Yes, so muscles also help in working of our internal organs, such as the heart. Heart is made up of muscles. There are around, so this you have to remember, 650 muscles in the human body. So, this all muscles names are there, yes, and the small muscles are there. All together are 650. That you will have in detail in the higher class, yes. And if you are interested in the B group biology, the detail will be, you will be learning, yes. All the names of the wrist bones, yes. Now, muscles that help in our movement are attached to the bones by strong fibers. So, we saw tissues and ligaments. The name is tendons. Okay. So, muscles that help in our movement are attached to the bones by strong fibers. They are stretched and they are pulling. See our knee. Yes, they all are muscles which pull and they are fibrous and they are known as tendons. Several muscles work together to perform one movement. For example, the muscles of the arm. Yes, they are the biceps and the triceps. Together help in the movement of our arm. Next coming 6th standard, you will be learning how the arm muscles work. When we stretch, what happens to the biceps and what happens to the triceps, and we come to our original position. We use over 15 muscles of our face when we smile. So, when we are going to smile, there are 15 muscles. Okay? So, muscles can be divided into two groups. As we saw the joints, movable, immovable, the same way there are muscles, voluntary muscles and involuntary muscles. So, if we talk about voluntary muscles, are those whose movements we can control. Yes, if you want to hold something, then it is in our hand. Yes, but our circulatory system, respiratory system, it works on its own. The muscles are working on it. We cannot give the command and they will stop. So, they are known as involuntary muscles. So, first understand the voluntary muscles are those whose movements we can control. For example, when we want to move our hands and feet, we use the voluntary muscles. Now, involuntary muscles are those whose movement we cannot control. They are found in the internal organs of the body, such as the stomach, that is the digestive system. If you are eating something and then you say, come on, stop digesting, it will not stop. So, they are the muscles which are going to work on its own. They are the internal organs, yes, which are being made from muscles. So, they are known as involuntary muscles. They work, this involuntary muscles, they work throughout our life, yes, without stopping. These are called involuntary muscles. So, the heart, the respiratory system, our internal organs, they work and work and work up to our last breath of our life, yes. So, they are known as involuntary muscles which are not in our control, like the hands and legs. If we keep our muscles strong and healthy by exercise, then we can remain strong for the whole life. See, the life long is not important, but it can be short life or the long life, but you must remain healthy life. That is more important. If a person lives many years, 60, 70, 80, and the habits are unhealthy or they are not healthy, yes, they become bedridden. So, it is better to have from the beginning the healthy habits. So, thank you children, and you are going to see all these things in the textbook and you are going to refer it. Okay? Thank you.